Good evening, Word on the Curb guest. And I'd like to thank you. My name is Annette. I want to thank you for coming back. I'd like to thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Annette, and I'm your host here at Word on the Curb. Tonight, our conversation is a little bit about good vibes and women to women, and woman to woman, and some of the things that happen with women. Now, this is my experience, strength, and hope. Yours may be different. So that's the disclaimer. We are on YouTube. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Yeah, put our business in the street. It's okay this time. You can do it. You're going to do it anyway, but do it this time. Thanks. And we're on Facebook at the Black Girls Locker Room. The What Trenton Makes Word on the Curb. So join us. And as I keep telling you, we have some exciting things in the making, and it takes time, to get it right. And so I just want to tell you that it's so important to hydrate, eat fruit, moisturize your face, and hands, your feet, face, and hands, and mind your business. I love coconut pineapple water. I like coconut water, but pineapple with it is, and I'm not advertising for anybody, but the coconut water is like the absolute best. And so, again, thank you for joining me here this evening. I want to shout out my sponsor, and that is the Ingram Kingdom Mobile Kitchen. Thanks for supporting and sponsoring Word on the Curb. We couldn't do it without our sponsors. I'd like to shout out Trenton Waves, my producers. They're doing a great job and moving me right along. And so, thank you to Frank and Christina Sasso. I'd like to shout out other podcasters, Winston Dramatic Mills and his brother. I'd like to shout out Dear Sis Podcast. Keep going. I understand you have some comedy in you, and you're working to get some of that done. So, congratulations. And I want to remind all of you who are podcasting there's enough room out here for all of us. At Word on the Curb, get in where you fit in. Open the gates because we're coming. And don't block us because we're not finished yet. So tonight, again, this is my experience, strength, and hope. I am sharing my experience. And woman to woman, here's what I want to talk about. I am I've had some experiences. I've had some experiences, some good, some bad, some in between. That's the way life goes. It's not always good, it's not always bad. Sometimes it's just simply in between. And here's what I want to share. The first part is personal life. In my personal life, I know Nabila, Trish, and Donna, and Dora, and Bridget, and Sonia, and Linda, and Diane, and Audrey, and Adrian, and Cindy, and Beverly, and my daughters can vouch for this. My girlfriend circle is good. It's good. Has it always been that way prior to the last 10 years? No, but it's good now. And Donna, Nabila, and Trish have been staples. They've been here, and I want to thank them. And the reason I'm talking about this is because sometimes I hear women say, I don't trust women, then you don't trust yourself because you are a woman. Women in my life lift me up. And I can say that emphatically and without reservation because your circle is three: the inner, the next, and the next. And you have to know where people fit in. Sometimes people are just for a season, and sometimes they're for a lifetime. But personally, what I have found, and again, this is my experience, is that, having women friends, the friendships make the difference is solid. I am also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Is eh, hey, sisterhood, sincere and rare, and we build each other up. But I've also found that, especially personally too, but especially in the workplace, there's a lot of viciousness. And I want to talk about it because everybody has and needs a circle they can depend on. I do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you can do this thing all by yourself. I like having sisters that I can go to and talk to and share with and be honest with and be transparent with. That's not all of the circles because there's three, but that inner circle is my tribe. It's where I get in and it's where I fit in, and I need it. I need it because I am not an island. I used to joke, well, I meant it when I said it. I used to joke and say that if I could buy an island to be by myself and just my family, I'd be fine. That's not practical for me. It may be for others, but it's not for me. I enjoy the sisterhood. I like the dinners. I like the girls' night out. I like the girls' night in. I like hanging with my sisters. I enjoy the company. And I'm not somebody who can hang out all the time. That's not my MO. It's not something I can do. I don't always want to be uh, on the scene. That's not my MO either. I like to socialize. I like, the sisterhood. I like joining in with folks. But more than that, I like learning from people. I'm telling you, I've learned some tremendous things from the women in my life. And I do have some best friends. There are women who don't. Well, whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you is all right with me. But I like having a few best friends. I do. I like that Tawana Smith is my kindergarten friend. I like that. I like that Bridget Ford is a childhood friend. We grew up together, same neighborhood. I like that. I like that I've known Karen Walker forever, another childhood friend. That matters. That matters. And here's what else matters. I like women who have self confidence. I like that. And I like that because it tightens the circle. It makes the circle a whole lot more solid. So that's personally. In my professional life, let me clear my throat. In my professional life, here's what I found: loyalty is lacking. It's lacking. And here's what I want you to know. This is my experience because my job was with civil service. When you're in a civil service position, you have some measure of protection. There's no reason to fight each other. It's not. And I don't care what color you are. If you stand by when another woman is being abused in a hostile work environment and does not deserve it, has not done anything to deserve it that you can see openly, and there's no reason for her to be there, there's never a reason for her to be there, and you participate and you allow that, you're the problem. So, I want to share a little bit about my professional life, and I'm not speaking to any particular job. I've had two or three. One was the longest ever. But I also taught for a little while, and I worked in some other places, but I want to talk about an experience. And if the person identifies with this and listens to this, that's their problem. So, uh, okay, they're telling me that they can't post. My apologies. I'm going to keep going. In my professional life, what I found is there will always be office gossips. And that's people who just create content. They should actually be content creators, the gossips. Because here's what I want you to know, and I'm telling you this from experience. That office gossip is the snitch too. Where do you think they get all their information from? Do you think somebody's just providing them with information and they're not providing information back? Do you believe that? Because if you do, you sleep. You are. At the office, and I don't care where the office is, the snitch is the gossip because they give information to get information and then they bring it to you. And some of you become hostages in that you allow the gossips to control your thinking and how you feel about other people you don't know. Mhm. I'm sharing experience now, not what I think, not what I read, not what I heard. I'm sharing experience. And I'm also going to share opportunity and hope, in this short podcast. But I want you to know that that snitch is the gossip. They take information from the employer, bring it back to the employee, and take from the employee back to the employer. You heard it here first. That's right, the office snitch. And I know that on my job, there was a female, one of my jobs, there was a female who was particularly gossipy. Actually, there were two. And both of them were the best content creators out of fiction that I ever met in my life. That's the best way to put it. The best content creators out of fiction. And not only did they take the bone, they carried it too. And so, professionally, what I want to tell you guys is woman to woman, if she's talking about them, she's talking about you too. Yep. You ever been in a situation where you're trying to figure out, and I shared this before on what your employer doesn't want you to know? You try to figure out, how did they know that? Well, who were you talking to? Who's bringing you news? Who's bringing you the office gossip? That's the source. Remember them as the source, and you can tell them I said it. There's very little I'm going to talk about without receipts. And by receipts, for those of you who don't understand, I have proof. And so, woman to woman on the job, treat other women, treat everybody with respect. But I'm sharing my experience as a woman and I'm talking to women. Treat everybody with respect, but look out for that woman on the job. Yep, look out for that woman on the job. And she should look out for you. And if some of you start practicing it, maybe more of it would start to happen. A lot of people say, I just go to work and I mind my business. And I'm going to tell you something. They come for you. Eventually they're coming for you too. You better believe that. And if you're smart and you know your job, they're definitely coming for you. And they're coming for you because they want to whip you in this shape. They want to whip you into the snitch role. That's right. They want you to hold your colleagues accountable. Okay? They want you to hold your colleagues accountable. And by holding them accountable, what they want you to do is make sure you tell them everything that they're doing. Yep. So if you think that you're going to get ahead because you snitch on people. If you have something to say to somebody and you think it's that important about somebody and you think it's that important, why don't you tell them? Why don't you talk to them? I remember going up to a young lady and asking her, why do you lie on me so much? Why do you create so much drama around me and you don't even know me? And you know what she said? She said, I don't know. I had to accept that. Did she stop? She calmed down a little bit, but she never stopped. Here's what else I want to tell you, woman to woman. And when they behave that way, level your chin, do your job, be professional, speak even when they don't. It takes a lot of energy to ignore people, especially people who are right in front of you. And if you're not eating or sleeping with them, why do they deserve that much bad energy? They don't. Don't give it to them. Protect your energy. Woman to woman. hmm Keep your mouth off of other women if it's not positive. Keep your mouth off of them. There's no reason for you to go to a job and try to bring another woman down. There's no excuse for that. Don't do it. I'm talking to CL and JB directly. You may or not, you may know, you may not know, but I'm speaking to them directly tonight. Stop it. Nothing good is going to come out of your bad behavior. I promise you. And I want to tell those of you who are still employed, if you're gossiping with them about other people, you're just as bad as they are. And they were pretty bad. They were. And the other thing that I want to share with you based on my experience is on the job, I want you to know that human resources works for the employer. You'll get that on the way home. They work for the employer. If you see another woman being abused, report it. Even if you do it anonymously, report it. If you see it, not what somebody tells you. If you see it and hear it yourself, report it. I can promise you that bashing other women and doing things inappropriately, I'm reading the comments. But how do you continue to allow a person to disrespect you? They're not disrespecting you, they're disrespecting themselves. That's what I want you to know. Thanks for bringing that up. And so my lessons have taught me a couple of things. And here's what I want you to know. There are three things that I want to leave you tonight with based on my lessons and my experience. The first thing is I respect myself. I respect myself. Disrespect me. I don't have a problem filing a complaint. If I talk to you and you don't do anything about it, I don't have a problem filing a complaint and documenting it. Do that. That's for the person who asks, how do you allow somebody to continue to disrespect you? You don't. And when and where you don't have to be in their presence, don't. And when and where grace is needed, give them forgiveness. And I don't care who it is. I forgave these people over and over and over again. Not for them, for me. I forgave them for me because I wanted my peace. I wanted to be able to sleep at night. I didn't want to be in a situation where somebody could say, oh, they're mistreating me and they're hostile to me. Mm-mm. The most I might be guilty of is ignoring you because I don't want your drama, and I'll continue to do that. But when and where I need to give grace and forgiveness, I'm going to do it. I have done it and I'll continue to do it. It's not about them. And if you'll just remember that, I promise you, your whole world will change. Because there are some very devious women in the office. The other thing, that I learned, my lessons over 40 years taught me, 45 years taught me, is that I needed to be honest about situations. And when things happened, I first needed to take a look at myself. I had to look at me first and find out the role I played in it. You know, I remember that I would speak to people all the time and they would ignore me. And finally, a friend of mine said to me, "Don't you realize they're not speaking to you?" I said, "No, I'm not focused on that. I'm speaking to them. It doesn't matter. I don't care." And I didn't. And that made my life, so much better at the office. And some people will say, "Well, I'm not doing that." Don't. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm sharing my experience. I'm telling you what worked for me. And then I prioritized my health, self care. I learned how, in difficult situations with women, especially, to practice self care. And when and where I could, to share how that worked for me. My self care included speaking, forgiveness, doing my job, and not doing anything to hurt anybody else. That was part of my self care. Yeah, that's how it works. It's not always directly about you, it could be something that directly impacts you. Self care is important. Take care of yourself. My health was real important to me. And I knew that no matter what I did, where I went, and how I behaved, it was going to be important that at the end of the day that I was good with me. And I'm telling you, if you're good with you, you can be good with everybody else. And here's the other thing. I was always myself. Always. And a lot of people didn't like it. I was always myself. I wasn't hanging out with you. I wasn't gossiping with you. If you brought me gossip, I would tell you, have you talked to them about that? Because that's not the person I know. And I refuse, under any and all circumstances, to be a hostage to the way you think and feel about somebody else that I might not necessarily know. Some of y'all been hostages a long time. My name is Annette. I am here tonight at Word on the Curb. I want to thank you for being with me, and I want to remind you that I am sharing my experience, strength, and hope. What doesn't apply, let it fly. Word on the curb is this: I don't care who you are, where you go, and what you do, it's all coming back to you. That includes me too. Self care means practicing things that keep you healthy physically, mentally, and emotionally. Sometimes people will get in your way and they will distract you. Do not allow anybody to distract you to the point that you're distracted from your goals. One of my self goals, that means for me, is to ensure that every single day before my feet hit the floor, that I pray. That's one of my goals, that I pray. I'm retired now. And I didn't retire because I wanted to. I retired because I had to, and that involved two reasons. And when you get to the part, and we were supposed to begin July 1st, but we have to put it off due to circumstances beyond our control. The documentary about her story, I want you to hear that because it's the shift I'm talking. And I'm going to tell you some things. And some people are going to be very, very uncomfortable. But remember, I reminded you here, and I'll remind you again when we get to the documentary. I'm not going to talk about anything I don't have receipts for. Okay? And neither should you. So when dealing with another woman, give her grace, lift her up. If you don't like her and you don't know why, you need to take a look at yourself. If you don't like her because you're somebody else's hostage, that's your problem. Deal with it. But give her a chance and get a chance to get to know her. And I want to remind you that some people fight with a can of paint, and there's nothing you can do about that except not engage the fight. Again, I am your host here at Word on the Curb podcast. My name is Annette, and I want to thank you for coming back. Join us again next week. We're going to follow up on Wednesday with her love language and his love language. We're going to be on together, men and women, talking about the love language and how we improve it, and if we're fully aware of what it is. And after that, we're going to be talking about trademarking and why that's important. I'm going to have a lawyer on who's going to share some good information with you. If you have a small business, you're going to want to join us. Again, I'm Annette. I want to thank you for joining me here tonight. And remember, lift her up. The battle's not yours. Take care of each other. It makes a difference. Personally, have a circle of friends that you can trust and depend on. Yeah, have a circle of friends. Professionally, learn from your colleagues. If they're getting it done, learn how to do it and stop backbiting. It will make the difference. Lift her up. Thank you and good night.